Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will dive deep into the whirlwind of drama set to unfold on Friday, May 16th, 2025, as Port Charles braces for shocking revelations, emotional reconciliations, and hidden truths coming to light. From Christina's relentless efforts to repair fractured relationships to Lucky's investigative pursuits and Lucas's heartfelt visit to Elizabeth, there's no shortage of intrigue. Add in Rick's potential game-changing offer and Gio's soul-bearing moment with Sunny, and you've got a recipe for an unforgettable episode. Let's unpack each storyline with fresh perspectives, imaginative details, and a closer look at what might be simmering beneath the surface. Christina sits endless quest for redemption. Christina Corinthos Davis seems to be caught in a perpetual storm of her own making, and this Friday is no exception as she scrambles to mend fences and cover her tracks. Lately, her life has been a roller coaster of regrets, apologies, and desperate attempts to salvage her bonds with family. On Thursday, we saw her pouring her heart out to her mother, Alexis, in a raw and vulnerable conversation, trying to bridge the gap after Alexis's shocking consideration of committing her for mental health reasons. Imagine Christina sitting across from her mother in the dimly lit Davis family living room, her voice trembling as she admits her past mistakes, particularly the pain she inflicted on Molly during the heartbreaking surrogate pregnancy that ended in devastating loss. Could Friday see her extending this olive branch further, perhaps crafting an elaborate gesture to prove her sincerity? Some speculate she might even organize a family dinner, inviting Molly and TJ, hoping to recreate happier times while subtly steering conversations away from her own missteps. Moreover, whispers around Port Charles suggest Christina may have confided in Dante on Wednesday, possibly seeking his advice on how to navigate the legal and emotional minefield she's trapped in. Is she plotting a way to further obscure the crime she's linked to, spinning a web of half-truths to keep suspicion at bay? Picture her nervously pacing in her apartment, rehearsing a carefully worded plea to Ava Jerome, someone who sees right through her facade. While Ava might raise a skeptical eyebrow at Christina's sudden friendliness perhaps during a tense encounter at the Metro Court Lounge, there's a chance Christina could play on Ava's own vulnerabilities, mentioning shared losses to forge a fragile truce. Will this gambit work, or will Ava's sharp instincts expose Christina's true intentions? Lucky digs for answers, Rick faces a tempting offer. Meanwhile, the tangled web surrounding Christina's alleged involvement in an attempted murder continues to ensnare others, namely Lucky Spencer and Rick Lansing. Lucky, ever the determined investigator, is hot on the trail of something significant this Friday. What secrets might he unearth as he sifts through old case files or tracks down elusive witnesses in the underbelly of Port Charles? Envision him hunched over a cluttered desk at the PCPD, piecing together cryptic clues about the so-called accident that has haunted Christina's family. Perhaps he stumbles upon a forgotten security footage clip from a nearby diner, showing a mysterious figure near the scene of the incident, raising questions about whether Christina acted alone or at all. Could Lucky's findings exonerate her, or will they tighten the noose around her neck? On the other side of this drama, Rick Lansing is itching to expose Christina's newfound peaceful demeanor as nothing more than a guilt-driven charade. He's convinced her remorse stems from the tragic incident where Molly's father was forced off the road, a moment that shattered lives. Rick's protective instincts as a father clash with his ruthless legal mind, and on Friday he receives an offer that could tip the scales. Picture him in his sleek office, staring at a cryptic email detailing a potential alliance with an unknown party. Could it be a rival of Ava's, promising inside dirt on Christina in exchange for legal favors? This proposition might grant Rick the leverage he craves to prove his point, but at what cost? Will aligning with this shadowy figure strain his already tenuous partnership with Ava, or could it redirect his focus to his newest clients, Willow and Drew, whose own secrets might be tied to this mysterious deal? Lucas and Elizabeth reconnect amid recovery. Elsewhere in Port Charles, a warmer, more personal moment unfolds as Lucas Jones pays a visit to Elizabeth Weber. The longtime friends and colleagues share a unique bond, often confiding in each other about life's highs and lows. On Friday, their reunion at Elizabeth's cozy home, complete with the scent of fresh coffee and the soft hum of recovery in the air, promises to be both therapeutic and revealing. Lucas, ever the supportive friend, likely checks in on Elizabeth's progress as she recuperates from recent health challenges. Imagine him reviewing her chart with a reassuring smile, noting how her strength has returned in small but meaningful ways over the past few weeks, perhaps even suggesting she's nearing a full return to her role as head nurse. But beyond medical updates, their conversation could take a more intimate turn. Picture them sitting on Elizabeth's porch, wrapped in blankets against the crisp May air, as they open up about their romantic struggles. Lucas might share lingering doubts about a recent fling that fizzled out at the hospital, seeking Elizabeth's sage advice while she confides in him about her own hesitations with love after past heartaches. Could Lucas drop a bombshell, hinting at a surprising new interest, who's caught his eye at General Hospital, and will he deliver the good news Elizabeth has been longing to hear, that her recovery is ahead of schedule, paving the way for her triumphant return to the wards? Gio unburdens to Sunny amid family tensions. Finally, the episode takes an emotional turn as young Gio Palmieri seeks solace in a heart-to-heart with Sunny Corinthos. Gio has been carrying a heavy burden lately, especially after a harsh confrontation with Dante following Rocco's frightening episode of alcohol poisoning. Recall the raw intensity of that moment. Dante, fueled by fear and frustration as a father, unleashing his anger on Gio, blaming him for not keeping a closer eye on Rocco. Even though Dante's words were born from panic rather than true blame, the sting lingers, as he hasn't yet offered an apology for the verbal lashing. Imagine Gio, shoulders slumped, replaying that argument in his mind as he hesitates outside Sunny's office at the coffee warehouse, unsure if he's ready to bare his soul. When Gio finally steps inside, Sunny's paternal warmth might be just what he needs. Picture Sunny leaning back in his chair, a knowing glint in his eye as he encourages Gio to let it all out: frustration, guilt, and the ache of feeling misunderstood. Sunny, with decades of family drama under his belt, could offer profound insights into Dante's protective nature, explaining how fear often masquerades as anger in the Corinthos clan. Perhaps he shares a personal anecdote from his own tumultuous past with Dante, painting a picture of a time when misunderstandings nearly tore them apart, only for forgiveness to mend the rift. Might Sunny also nudge Gio toward a bold step, confronting Dante directly to clear the air, or will he arrange a subtle meeting between the two to help bury the hatchet? Either way, this moment could mark a turning point for Gio, reminding him that even in Port Charles, family ties, however strained, are worth fighting for. Next, we will explore the intense drama brewing in Port Charles as the May 14, 2025 episode of ABC General Hospital sets the stage for a heated custody battle involving Michael, Willow, Carly, and Drew. Beyond the legal showdown, potential new conflicts loom for Rick, Ava, Christina, and Alexis, while behind-the-scenes insights from Laura Wright about a necessary recast add another layer of intrigue. Additionally, we'll speculate on the urgent need for Michael Corinthos' return to the spotlight amid personal and family chaos. Buckle up as we dive into each storyline with fresh details, creative twists, and imaginative scenarios that paint a vivid picture of the turmoil and tension gripping our favorite characters. Custody chaos. Michael, Willow, Carly, and Drew face off. The battle lines are drawn in Port Charles as a high-stakes custody case over Michael and Willow's children takes center stage. On May 14th, Diane Miller arrived at Carly Spencer's doorstep with a bombshell. The custody hearing is set for June 2nd, far sooner than anyone anticipated. With Michael still recovering from severe injuries and unable to appear in court, Carly and Jason Morgan huddled together in Carly's living room, the weight of the situation hanging heavy. Picture the trio sipping coffee late into the night, maps of legal strategies scrawled across the table as Carly, ever the protective mother hen, declared she'd step into Michael's shoes for the hearing. It's a move that feels quintessentially Carly. She's at the root of much of this mess, after all, and her fierce loyalty drives her to shield her son's interests. Their plan? To present a dossier of damning evidence about Drew Kane's reckless behavior during an infamous wild night, hoping to tip the scales against Willow, but Diane, with her sharp legal mind, cautions them as they sit by the fireplace. While this might sabotage Willow's chances, it doesn't guarantee Carly custody. In a shocking twist, she warns that Nina Reeves, with her complex ties to the family, could emerge as a dark horse candidate to take the children. Across town at Drew's sleek penthouse, Willow Corinthos reels from the gut punch of being served custody papers. Imagine her standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows, tears streaking down her face as the reality of losing her kids sinks in. Nina, playing the role of comforting mother, wraps her in a tight embrace, whispering assurances that they'll fight tooth and nail. Drew, meanwhile, wastes no time, dialing up Rick Lansing as reinforcement. The group gathers in Drew's study, surrounded by legal tomes and framed photos of happier times, brainstorming a ruthless counterattack. Drew, his jaw set with determination, insists on portraying Michael as a negligent, absentee father, a low blow given Michael's involuntary absence due to recovery. Could Drew's desperation push him to unearth or even fabricate evidence of Michael's supposed disengagement, perhaps digging into old business trips or missed school events? His vendetta seems personal, a burning need to erase Michael and his allies from the picture, setting the stage for a courtroom clash that could fracture families beyond repair. A second legal storm brews on the horizon. As if one legal maelstrom wasn't enough, the undercurrents of another potential battle ripple through Port Charles, entangling Rick, Ava Jerome, Christina Corinthos Davis, and Alexis Davis. Alexis, driven by a mix of maternal instinct and suspicion, has tasked tech wizard Spinelli with tracking down Rick's car, hoping to uncover clues tied to a mysterious incident. Picture Spinelli hunched over his laptop in a dimly lit corner of his hacker den, lines of code flashing across the screen as he pinpoints the vehicle's last known location near the docks. But in her quest for answers, Alexis might unwittingly stir up a hornet's nest, especially for Christina, whose secrets could be exposed in the fallout. Could Spinelli's findings reveal a hidden dashcam recording or a witness statement that implicates Christina in something far graver than anyone suspects? Envision Alexis pacing her law office, torn between protecting her daughter and pursuing the truth, while Ava and Rick exchange wary glances at the Metro court, sensing the storm brewing. This secondary conflict promises to weave a web of deception and betrayal, with alliances tested and old grudges resurfacing in unexpected ways. Laura Wright on the Jack Brennan recast, a necessary shift. Shifting gears to behind-the-scenes revelations, Laura Wright, who brings Carly Spencer to life, recently shared candid insights with Soap Opera Digest about a critical recast that rocked General Hospital earlier this year. The role of Jack Brennan, originally portrayed by Charles Mesher, had to be swiftly handed to Chris McKenna in late January after Mesher's abrupt exit. Wright described the production scramble in vivid detail, painting a picture of frantic script meetings and last-minute casting calls as the show grappled with a storyline too deeply entrenched to rewrite. Imagine the set buzzing with tension as McKenna stepped into the role, diving headfirst into intense scenes without the luxury of rehearsal time. Wright admitted that while their on-screen chemistry took a backseat to necessity, their off-screen camaraderie smoothed the transition. She might have shared late-night coffee runs with McKenna, swapping stories to build rapport. Interestingly, Wright hinted that the storyline's direction, particularly involving Jocelyn Jacks, played by Eden McCoy, might soon render romantic sparks irrelevant as Carly uncovers Brennan's shadowy dealings. Could this tie back to broader conspiracies in Port Charles, perhaps linking Brennan to the custody battle's unseen players? Michael Corinthos' return, an urgent need in Port Charles. Speaking of pivotal characters, the absence of Michael Corinthos looms large over these unfolding dramas, and fans are clamoring for his return. The writers crafted a dramatic exit for Michael earlier this year, with a penthouse explosion leaving him with third-degree burns, necessitating treatment at a specialized clinic in Germany. It was a clever plot device to explain his temporary absence. But now, with a bitter divorce and custody fight with Willow, the scandal of her affair with Drew Kane, and the added complication of Sasha Gilmore Corbin carrying his child, Michael's presence is desperately needed. Picture the empty chair at the Quartermain mansion, a silent reminder of his absence during family dinners, as Willow's guilt and Drew's scheming fill the void. Speculation swirls about a potential recast. Unlike the urgent Brennan switch, the show might have breathing room to scout the perfect Michael, especially with whispers that Chad Duell may not reprise the role. Could a casting call unearth a fresh face who brings new energy to Michael's arc, perhaps debuting at the custody hearing on June 2nd with a dramatic courtroom speech? The explosive storylines awaiting him, paternal responsibilities, romantic entanglements, and family feuds suggest his comeback, whether sooner or later, will ignite Port Charles like never before. A powder keg of drama awaits. As we look ahead to the aftermath of the May 14th, 2025 episode and beyond, General Hospital is poised to deliver a barrage of emotional and legal fireworks. The custody battle between Michael, Willow, Carly, and Drew threatens to shatter already fragile bonds, while a secondary conflict involving Rick, Ava, Christina, and Alexis brews in the shadows. Laura Wright's revelations about the Jack Brennan recast offer a peek behind the curtain, reminding us of the real-world challenges shaping our beloved stories, and the urgent call for Michael Corinthos' return adds a layer of anticipation. Who will ultimately gain custody of the children, and what hidden truths will surface in the coming weeks? Next, we will delve into the tangled web of deception, blackmail, and family loyalty that continues to ensnare Ava Jerome, Alexis Davis, and Christina Corinthos Davis in the latest dramatic developments at Port Charles. Buckle up as we explore the mounting tension, uncover new layers of intrigue, and speculate on the potential fallout from the secrets threatening to unravel this trio's fragile alliances. With emotions running high and stakes even higher, let's break down the chaos and see who might truly hold the upper hand in this high-stakes game. Ava Jerome sits dangerous game of blackmail. In the heart of Port Charles, Ava Jerome has positioned herself as a formidable puppet master, pulling the strings of both Alexis Davis and her daughter Christina with ruthless precision. Armed with damning evidence that Christina tampered with the brakes of a car she believed to be Ava's only to disastrously target Rick Lansing's vehicle. Instead, Ava has seized an opportunity to exploit this misstep for her own gain. Not content with merely holding this secret over their heads, Ava has escalated her demands, pressuring Alexis to siphon funds from the vast Cassadine estate, specifically from the inheritance of young Ace Cassadine, to secure her silence. This sinister arrangement paints Ava as a cold-hearted schemer, willing to drain the resources of an innocent child to protect her own interests and exact revenge. Beyond the surface, Ava's actions reveal a deeper, more calculated motive. Sources close to the gallery owner suggest she may be using this leverage not just for financial gain, but to dismantle the Davis family's unity, a personal vendetta possibly fueled by past grievances with Alexis over shared romantic entanglements and bitter rivalries. Imagine Ava sitting in her sleek, dimly lit gallery, surrounded by haunting portraits, plotting her next move with a chilling smirk. Her desire for control is palpable. However, the question looms larger than ever: how long can Ava maintain this iron grip before her carefully constructed house of cards comes crashing down? With each passing day, the risk of exposure grows, especially as Alexis scrambles to find a way out of this suffocating trap. Alexis Davis, a mother sips, desperate sacrifice. Alexis Davis, once a beacon of legal integrity in Port Charles, finds herself mired in a moral quagmire as she grapples with Ava's unrelenting blackmail. Having only recently regained her law license, after years of personal and professional turmoil, Alexis now faces the unthinkable, jeopardizing everything she's fought for to shield Christina from the consequences of her reckless actions. Instead of encouraging accountability or seeking mental health support for her daughter, Alexis has chosen a path of deception, agreeing to embezzle money from the Cassadine estate to appease Ava's demands. This decision is not merely a lapse in judgment, it's a heartbreaking reflection of a mother's boundless love clashing with her own principles. Behind closed doors, whispers in the Port Charles legal community hint at Alexis's inner torment. Picture her pacing in her office late at night, surrounded by law books and case files, her hands trembling as she weighs the cost of her silence against the safety of her child. Some speculate that her hesitation to involve authorities or even confide in trusted allies like Diane Miller stems from a fear that any misstep could lead to Christina's imprisonment or worse, permanent damage to their already fragile relationship, following the tragic losses of Christina's baby and her sister, Sam McCall. Diane, ever the voice of reason, reportedly urged Alexis to consider committing Christina to a mental health facility as a means of protection from legal repercussions, but Alexis's refusal to entertain this option has only deepened the crisis. As the pressure mounts, one can't help but wonder if Alexis's protective instincts will ultimately be her undoing. Damian Spinelli's investigation uncovers a shocking twist. Enter Damian Spinelli, the tech-savvy sleuth of Port Charles, whose knack for unearthing hidden truths may just tilt the balance in this volatile situation. Tasked by Alexis to investigate the mysterious whereabouts of Rick Lansing's totaled car, Spinelli embarked on a digital scavenger hunt that led him to a startling revelation. Contrary to official reports that the vehicle had been scrapped, Spinelli uncovered evidence that Ava herself orchestrated its removal, hiring a tow truck to transport the car to a clandestine storage location. This discovery is nothing short of a bombshell, suggesting not only foul play but also Ava's deliberate intent to preserve incriminating evidence as a weapon against the Davis family. Imagine Spinelli hunched over his laptop in a dimly lit corner of his apartment, lines of code reflecting in his determined eyes as he pieces together GPS data and security footage to track the tow truck's route. His findings could be the key Alexis needs to turn the tables on Ava, but at what cost? Insiders at the local mechanic shops and towing companies hint that Ava paid a hefty sum to ensure absolute secrecy, possibly even intimidating workers to keep quiet. This raises the stakes significantly. If Alexis uses this information to confront Ava, she risks igniting a fierce backlash from a woman who has proven time and again that she plays to win, no matter the collateral damage. The delicate dance between exposing Ava's machinations and protecting Christina from legal scrutiny has never been more precarious. Christina Corinthos Davis, blind to the truth? At the center of this storm stands Christina Corinthos Davis, seemingly oblivious to the full extent of the chaos her actions have unleashed. While reeling from the compounded grief of losing her unborn child and her beloved sister Sam, Christina's judgment appears clouded, her denial a fortress against the reality of her own wrongdoing. When she tampered with Rick's car brakes, believing it to be Ava's, her intent was misguided vengeance, but the consequences were nearly fatal, and now her mother bears the burden of covering up this grave mistake. During a recent heart-to-heart with Dante Falconeri at the local diner, Christina expressed bewilderment at Alexis's apparent willingness to have her committed, completely unaware that her mother holds knowledge of her dangerous act. Picture Christina sitting across from Dante, stirring her coffee absent-mindedly, her expression a mix of confusion and frustration as she questions why Alexis would take such drastic measures. Observers note that her inability to connect the dots despite her mother's history of overprotection suggests a deeper psychological block, perhaps a refusal to acknowledge her own culpability or the pain she's caused. Some in Port Charles speculate that Christina's trauma has rendered her emotionally numb, unable to grasp the gravity of her situation or the sacrifices Alexis is making. If she remains in the dark, or worse, in denial, how can she begin to heal or make amends? The path forward for Christina seems fraught with peril, especially if Ava's leverage continues to hold sway over her family's fate. The uncertain road ahead. Who will prevail? As the dust settles over these explosive revelations, the future for Ava, Alexis, and Christina remains shrouded in uncertainty. Ava's cunning and resourcefulness have often seen her emerge victorious in the face of adversity, and there's little doubt she's already plotting her next move should Alexis attempt to use Spinelli's findings against her. Perhaps she's secured additional evidence or forged alliances with other powerful figures in Port Charles to bolster her position. After all, Ava Jerome is nothing if not a survivor. Meanwhile, Alexis treads a razor-thin line between safeguarding her daughter and preserving her own integrity, a balancing act that could collapse at any moment under the weight of Ava's demands and the ever-present threat of legal repercussions. For Christina, the journey is one of self-discovery and reckoning, whether she's ready for it or not. Will she piece together the puzzle of her mother's actions, or will her denial continue to blind her to the harsh truths surrounding her? And what of the Cassadine estate, particularly young Ace, whose future is being quietly plundered to fund Ava's silence? Rumors swirl that other family members might soon take notice of the missing funds, potentially dragging this scandal into an even larger spotlight. As we await the next chapter in this gripping saga, one thing is clear in Port Charles: secrets have a way of surfacing, and when they do, the fallout spares no one. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the latest ABC General Hospital drama. Stay tuned to our channel for more spoilers, updates, and exclusive insights as we continue to unravel the mysteries of Port Charles. What do you think? Will Alexis outsmart Ava, or is Christina's future doomed to unravel under the weight of her mistakes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next episode recap.